Hey guys, it's Misty from the Book Rat, and it's time for the very last segment on this year's Austen and August read-along of Emma. I'm going to leave links in the info to all of the discussion questions so far, including the questions for Volume 3, but for this video I'm actually going to ignore those final questions that I asked, or kind of roll them all into one, and just kind of talk to you guys about my connection to Emma by Jane Austen. So I wrote a post on this and I will leave it below, but basically even though Emma's not my absolute favorite of Austen's works, I have a personal connection to Emma, not only because it was the first Austen work that I really had any familiarity with and the first one that I read, but also because, as I've talked about, I loved Emma from the beginning and was really surprised to find out that others didn't and that people had issues with Emma. And though I can see why, especially, now that I'm older, I can see why people would find her very flawed. The fact that she was flawed never bothered me or never kept me from loving her. In Emma, not just the character but the book, you have characters who are flawed but likable, and characters who are flawed and unlikable, and you have characters who don't seem very flawed and are totally unlikable. So you really get this great broad spectrum of humanity, and I think that ability to create so many characters that people relate to, understand, and recognize. You read these characters and you're like, oh, I know someone just like that. The ability to bring that to life and have it translate centuries later and still represent some universal truths about who people are, how certain personality types function, how people relate to each other and interact with each other. I think that is really Austen's enduring strength. So when people talk about Austen, they tend to talk about romance, and they talk about Darcy and Lizzie and people marrying for money and manners and all of that. And I think that's somewhat missing the point. I mean, yes, of course we love that, and we love seeing these characters come to their hopeful, happily ever after, but I don't think that that's why we prize Austen so much. There are plenty of authors that give us that, and though she was maybe the first to really do it, she's not the only one to do so, and certainly not since. I mean, we have entire genres that are built around imitating her, and I'm not just talking about Jane Austen fanfiction. Things like that are nice. Romances and sweetness and happiness are nice, but that doesn't create a classic, Like, that's not where her real power lies, and it's in being such a very incisive and deft judge and portrayer of character. And I think that Emma is probably a book that exemplifies that maybe even more than the rest. You get that in all of Austen's books, and there are certainly excellent examples of it, but I think in Emma you've really got all of Austen's strengths displayed, and you've got all of these levels. So you've got Emma and her flaws, but then you've got like the dialed up version of her in Mrs. Elton and how horrible she kind of is, and you've got the way muted down versions, and you've got people that are easily led, people that are really strong personalities, people that are happy-go-lucky, people that are manipulative, and you get so much of how they interact, how they change each other, how they mistake each other. It's never not believable, and I think that is really something impressive. A reason to read Austen and read Emma and reread Austen and reread Emma, even if you don't think you like Austen or Emma. Even if you don't like that character, you don't have to have a main character that you love to appreciate a book or to like the story and the writing. And I know people that don't love Emma, but still love Emma. Don't like Emma the character, still love Emma the book. I think that quality of intelligence and understanding and that little bit of snarkiness that sneaks into the writing is certainly why I have been such an Austen fan for so long. I mean, half of my life now has been pretty ardent Janeite. And it's certainly why I've devoted over half of a decade to doing things like Austen and August and reading continuations and adaptations of her work, and why there's such a strong following now and a whole business built out of adapting and incorporating her work. I mean, that really says something. So I guess for my response to Volume 3 is just a sales pitch for Jane Austen and why you should read her, why you should give her a chance and look past those surface romances, especially if you've always dismissed Austen as being fluffy romance. Really, truly read her. Give a really good, focused, pick it apart type of reading understand the humor and the sarcasm that comes in, because people tend to take Austen very seriously, and she's often not. Give her a chance. All of you people in the comments that have been saying, I've never read Austen, I've always wanted to read some Austen, where should I start? She's on my list. You know, do it. You can get them all free, you can listen to them on audiobooks, you can watch adaptations of the movies if you get stuck, you can talk to me about it at any time, and I will be happy to weigh in and give you all of my opinions and explain anything and maybe go a little bit overboard, but do it! Like, now is the time. Read her, appreciate her, she's amazing. I guess that's all I really wanted to say about Emma, my love for Emma, Austen, my love for Austen, and with that, we end Austen in August. Thanks to all of you who joined me this year, whether you read along, just watched the videos, read some posts, entered giveaways, chatted on Twitter, whatever you did. Thank you for joining and being a part of it. Just thank you, and read more Austen, and I'll see you guys soon.